Picture this. You're at a concert, and as the first chord strikes, it doesn't just hit your ears, it detonates into a firework display of colour, rippling through the air like an electric storm of paint. The bass line rumbles in deep, velvety reds, vibrating through your bones like the taste of dark chocolate. While the drums send splashes of neon blue ricocheting across the sky, the singer's voice is a molten river of shimmering gold, cascading over the crowd like honey-drenched light. Sounds like some trippy sci-fi experiment, or a particularly wild fever dream, right? But for some people, this is just how their world works. Welcome to the mind-bending, sense-blurring, utterly fascinating world of synesthesia, where music has colour, words have flavours, and reality is more fluid than you ever imagined. Synesthesia comes from the Greek words syn, which means together, and aesthesis, which is sensation. And it's exactly that, a sensory experience that blends and fuses what should, by your logic, remain separate. Instead of experiencing the world in rigid, compartmentalized blocks, synesthetes exist in a reality where letters shimmer in hues of emerald and magenta, and numbers hum with personalities, and spoken words dance on the tongue like cinnamon or cold steel. The most common form is grapheme colour synesthesia, where letters and numbers take on specific and unchanging colours. If you have this, the letter A might always be crimson, while B is a soothing teal. It's not a choice, it just is. And then there's chromesthesia, the kind that makes people see sound. For those who experience it, a car horn might flash neon green, or a violin note might streak across the sky like golden lightning. Lexical gustatory synesthesia is even weirder. People with it literally taste words. Imagine meeting someone named Derek and suddenly your mouth is flooded with the unmistakable taste of mint chocolate chip ice cream. And then there's mirror touch synesthesia, where seeing someone else getting poked, for example, feels like getting poked yourself. This is an involuntary, visceral empathy that makes watching boxing matches or horror films a complete nightmare. Roughly 4.4% of the population experiences some form of synesthesia, but many don't even realise that their perception is unusual. After all, how often do you compare what colours you see when someone speaks, or what texture Wednesday feels like? Throughout history, synesthesia has been both a gift and a muse for the world's most brilliant creatives. Some historians believe that Vincent van Gogh may have had synesthesia, which could explain his swirling, dynamic brushstrokes and his almost feverish use of vibrant, unnatural colours. Wassily Kandinsky, one of the pioneers of abstract art, quite literally painted music. He saw colours and shapes whenever he heard sound, and his paintings were meant to visually capture the emotions of symphonies. In the music world, synesthesia is practically a secret weapon. Billie Eilish has spoken about how every colour they write has a colour palette. Their track Bury a Friend is dark greys and blacks, while Bad Guy flashes in bright yellow and red. Pharrell Williams sees chords as shades of pink and red and orange, while Lorde describes her music visually before she even writes it, explaining that Pure Heroine felt like a mix of dark blue and neon green. Charlie XCX won't even listen to music in colours that she doesn't like. If a song feels too brown or yellow, she just doesn't vibe with it. It makes you wonder how much of the music we love is shaped by these unseen, unspoken, multisensory experiences. Could synesthetes have an unfair creative advantage? Or are they just seeing what the rest of us are missing? Despite sounding almost supernatural, synesthesia is all down to the brain's wiring. Scientists believe it occurs due to increased connectivity between sensory regions. Normally, different parts of the brain tend to work in isolation. Sound processing stays in the auditory cortex, while colour perception belongs to the visual cortex. But in synesthetes, these regions are cross-wired, meaning when one sense is activated, another jumps in uninvited. Some theories suggest synesthesia is a result of incomplete synaptic pruning. Essentially, the brain fails to trim excess neural connections during childhood, leaving sensory pathways more interconnected than usual. Genetics play a role too. Synesthesia tends to run in families, hinting at a hereditary component. However, it doesn't seem to follow a strict pattern. One person might see music while their sibling tastes words. It's like some cosmic lottery where you inherit a trait, but the universe gets to pick which type you get. Even stranger, some researchers believe that we are all born with a form of synesthesia, but most of us lose it as our brains organise during early development. If that's true, then synesthetes aren't anomalies, they're people who never lost a superpower that the rest of us unknowingly abandoned. The idea of blended senses isn't new. Ancient cultures have been intertwining sound and colour and sensations for centuries. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras spoke of the music of the spheres, a celestial harmony where planetary orbits emitted sound and colour, forming a perfect, invisible symphony. Hindu traditions assign each chakra a specific colour and sound, like the throat chakra's blue energy, resonating with the vibration of the syllable ham. Even medieval alchemists wrote about the connections between metals and planets and sensory experiences. Gold wasn't just a metal, it had a taste, a sound, a feeling of divine warmth. These mystical sensory entanglements suggest that synesthesia might not be a quirk of perception, but rather a remnant of an older way of understanding the world. One where the boundaries between senses were more fluid and experiencing reality was more of an art than a science. Now, let's tiptoe into some fun stuff. The theories, the whispers, the what-ifs. Some believe synesthesia is more than just a neural glitch. What if it's a vestige of a higher sensory awareness that ancient humans possessed, but we somehow lost? What if early civilizations, those who built megalithic structures and spoke of gods descending from the stars, perceived reality in a multisensory way that allowed them to grasp complex truths that we cannot even fathom? There's also the psychedelic connection. Substances like LSD and psilocybin mushrooms are known to induce temporary synesthetic experiences, leading some to suggest that our brains are capable of these sensory crossovers all the time. We just need the right unlock code. Could synesthesia be a doorway to a more connected, more immersive reality? Is our perception of the world limited, dulled by societal structures that discourage sensory exploration? Of course, the skeptics would say it's all just a fascinating neurological curiosity. But the next time you hear a song that feels warm, or a word that tastes sharp, or a number that seems inexplicably friendly, ask yourself, are you catching a fleeting glimpse of something bigger? Synesthesia reminds us that reality is more than what we see, than what we hear or feel in isolation. The world isn't a set of neatly labelled boxes. It's a swirling, interconnected symphony of sensation. For those who experience synesthesia, life is richer, stranger, and infinitely more colourful. But maybe, just maybe, the rest of us have the potential to tap into that too. We just have to learn how to listen to the colours and taste the music. And if that sounds ridiculous, well, maybe that's just what we've been told to believe.